Just waiting for my photos to back up so you guys can hear me. Now you should be able to hear me. So it's been a really long time since I've done a video. I contribute that to last term being so crazy with college. People have asked how I'm doing. It's kind of touch and go here and there. I gained 50 pounds in 4 months due to medicinal changes and PTSD flare-ups, which also, in fact, causes acne, which is not something that I have enjoyed because my skin is always clear and soft and all that. And now I feel like a prepubescent child. So, the PTSD is flaring up. The PTSD flare-up, they believe, is coming from the no contact with my parents. And not necessarily because they reject me, but because I rejected them. I tried so hard to hold on. Let's meet somewhere, let's go to counseling, let's, do this, and nothing was ever good enough. It's a pretty defeating feeling. So if you're deciding to go no contact with somebody that is negative and that you've tried really hard to have a relationship with, be prepared for that. It's not only their rejection of you that gets to you, it's your rejection of them, which I did not know. How was college going? I've made the presidential list for the past 2 terms, and this term I am in the high 90s. It's cognitive psychology, which is all about cognition, which isn't what people usually tend to think what it is. It's more of like, what do you have to do to get to a certain point? Like, I want to pick up my pen, so what motor functions does my brain take to do it? Which has been interesting because it's, more about the gray matter. And then, of course, Comp 2, which everybody knows that I love to write. However, being clear and concise is an issue for me. If you have ever read my blogs, I tend to tangent along. So being clear, concise, and complete has always been an issue. I have a service dog. Her name is Bandit. She has saved my life. She's been trained by myself to smell adrenaline, track my heart rate, stuff like that. Anytime that it goes up, she is trained to get me out of the situation. She saved my life, dude. Like, I can, we have a family reunion today, and I'm feeling pretty okay about it. I just don't want to talk about my parents, which might happen, but, whatever. It's just really, really difficult sometimes for me as somebody that has PTSD, agoraphobia, depression, stressor and trauma disorder, insomnia, and things like that. However, we are lessening some of the medication called mirtazapine, which is to help with depression and sleep, and lowering gabapentin. And so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Just sort of, finding the right balance and living a therapeutic lifestyle, which is not as easy as one would think, because you really have to be almost Buddha-like to live it, which is really hard. I got to see my sister mom. Anybody that doesn't know, my ex-husband had a child with another woman, and her and I actually became best friends. So I got to see her and meet her friend, or what I call partner, because they haven't become official, and I don't, they may and they may not, there are different factors that go into that. But I got to meet her partner, who is an amazing man. In fact, he contacted me this morning. He works night shifts, so I'm assuming he's asleep. But said that he wanted to talk to me, and I was like, yay, friends! So I've gotten a lot of questions about, how do you handle somebody that has a certain type of illness? Or, my partner has anxiety, how do I help? My partner has depression, how do I help? A lot of the times, you can't do anything. And that's not me being mean, it's not me being, a giant asshole. It's just sometimes you can't do anything. If it is clinical depression, that means that there is a serotonin lack in the brain, from what I understand. Which means that since there's a lack of serotonin, they have to be on medications to lift their serotonin up. I have a lack of serotonin in my brain, from what I understand, and so they have to put me on serotonin medicine to help raise the serotonin levels. I don't seem to have a problem with dopamine, which is interesting, because those sometimes go hand in hand. How do you talk to these people? Very gently. They already know that what's going on doesn't feel right. They already know that. They know that their sex drive is down. They know that what they're doing is probably wrong. People with bipolar, borderline personality disorder. They know these types of things. So for people that love people that have mental illness, which by the way is 1 in 5, and those are only the reported numbers. There are a lot of people that suffer in silence. I'm sure it would be like 3 in 5 if people actually reported their symptoms. But reporting your symptoms on mental health makes you weak. Society's mind. So speak to them gently. And speak to them how you would speak to yourself. I don't know, like, how do you explain that? When I'm having an anxiety attack, I'm really hard on myself. Why the fuck are you having an anxiety attack? What's wrong with you? Why are you having a PTSD flare-up? There's nothing wrong with you. What's going on? When my mind starts going. And then I realized that if a friend of mine was sitting in front of me and having an episode, regardless of the condition, I wouldn't talk to them that way. I would talk to them in a way that's loving and caring and full of trust, and let them know that I'm there for them. So what's the difference between them and me? I love myself just as I love them. So speak to them as you would speak to yourself if you were still going through those bouts. People with depression, it's hard. I'm not gonna front on that. Like, it's hard, especially if we're in a depressive mode. Anything that you say to us, we're gonna counter it with something that's negative. It's not our fault. We just can't. I can't say we can't, because we can't. But we feel as though everything is crumbling around us. And that's scary. And sometimes people are like, life is better without me. So check out for suicide signs. The subtle ones. People giving stuff away. Anything like that. But anyways, other than that, me and my husband are actually talking about, once the kids move out, getting a tiny house, which is something that I've wanted to do for a while. And just living, man, just taking that house wherever, not an RV, but like a tiny home. Either a yurt, which would stay stationary, or or, you know, a constructed tiny home. I'm not sure which one I would like better. I think that I would like the yurt better, but I'm pretty sure that hubby would like the tiny home better. So that's about it for me. I don't really have much to talk about. They put me on a different medication that's a antipsychotic, which I was kind of like, antipsychotic, and freaked out, but then you know, you realize that it treats like seizures and a bunch of different stuff. So that's all. I love you all. I hope that you have a good time.